It wasn't
Probably brought some people.
at the start as crazy as I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I saw your tweet about it. I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't even think of that until so long.
Yeah.
It's Monday night.
They had told us the first time I went there, it's like, hey, that week the Texans play, it's gonna get crazy here, so just let y'all know. So we knew the score going in, but it was totally fine.
Yeah. Okay.
They were so
I
cool.
know David went and reserved some tables.
Yeah,
So I was
that
like,
was
dang, man. That was a good game though. That was fun to watch.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I'm not Texans.
I don't know if you can hear me. Jason, can you hear me? Test, test, test. Can you hear me? Test, test, test. Can you hear me? Test, test. Test, test, test. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm a rookie when it comes to this. I don't know what he wants.
Say, what I always do for mic checks, I tell people, tell me what you did today, and tell me what you had for.
Well, I just had a great lunch. That was awesome. Preparing for Saturday. We had a poster shoot today for women's basketball. That's exciting. Let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Cool.
Can you do that again for me? I'm so sorry.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Cool.
Test, test, 1, 2. Hello, hello, mic check. Hello, hello.
Before we kind of dive into the football part of it, I want to give an update on Wiley Green. He's been evaluated by our doctors, and all imaging and testing has come back negative. So obviously, a lot of prayers were answered on that one. Besides some soreness in his neck, he's doing much better. We're going to continue to evaluate him, and we look forward to getting him back sooner rather than later. Talking about the game on Friday night, as we go back and watch the tape, there's a couple good things that we see, to say the least. The biggest ones to me are that we continue to play very, very hard, and that's exciting. I love that they are playing for each other. They're playing with passion, the way this game demands, and I think we're really making some good progress there. I think they're fighting on every play. We just got to find a way to quit allowing big plays to happen to us on defense. A couple in particular stand out in that game, whether it's the long pass or the 96-yard run. And then offensively, we've got to continue to be more efficient, and we've got to end up with the ball in the box more than we have in these first two games. I talked to the team about being consistently resilient, and I don't think there's any other way that you can have those words go together. Temporary resilient doesn't really work. It's not a thing. And as you look at the game, we showed some real resiliency. We responded the way I would want us to in a lot of cases, especially right after Wiley's injury. You see our team convert, put the ball in the end zone. Then our defense makes them go 3 and out. We have a great punt return on special teams by Austin Trammell. And then we end up putting that score in the box to make it 14-14 before the first quarter's over. So that's the type of resiliency this team has to have. It's the way we have to live. And we have to be able to do it for 4 quarters. That's our charge to them. Wake Forest, I look back at them. I think they're a really good team. I think they're a really well-coached team by Dave Clawson and his staff. I think the 23 seniors they have was a big difference. I think their experience was too much for us for 4 quarters. And some of the things they were able to do up front on both sides of the ball allowed them to execute their game plan better than we did. And in our case, a lot of it was because we went away from our technique as things got tough. At both fronts, both our offensive line and defensive line. And we've got to find a way that when things are tough, we fall back on our technique and on our training. And that's exactly what we've got to get them to do, is be confident in themselves and in what we're teaching. And we're going to continue to work through that. Bottom line is we're not quite there yet to beat that team. And we felt like we had the ability to on the field, and certainly at times it looked like we did. But we've got to keep making progress. We're just not quite there. But once again, better day by day. And I'm proud of the guys for that and the way they're working. This week, we got a pretty good football team coming into Houston to play us. Obviously, Coach Herman and his staff do a great job. They've rebuilt the culture at Texas. Obviously, everybody knows where that program was and what people's perceptions of it were before he and his staff got there. And I think it's a place that right now has as good of athletes as anybody in America. You look at it, and everybody talks to me about, well, this guy may not play or this guy's ruled out. And at the end of the day, they're going to replace him with another incredibly athletic 5-star recruit. And that will be what we see. The big thing that I think is cool is this opportunity for our guys to play the University of Texas, to play them in NRG Stadium, in an NFL venue. I think that's going to be a ton of fun for our kids, and it's a great challenge. But it's why our kids came to Rice. I've said it before. Anytime we talk about our schedule, why did they come to Rice? Well, they came here to get a world-class degree and play big-time college football. And, you think back, and on Thursday we celebrate the 57th anniversary of JFK giving that speech right out there. And I think we all know it, but why does Rice play Texas? Why do we choose to go to the moon? Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And that's going to be the challenge that we embrace as a football team this week. And our players are going to be prepared. We're going to go out and we're going to play incredibly hard, and the rest is going to take care of itself. We're going to control the controllable, and we're going to go into this team, into this game, and we're going to be prepared for the fight that's going to present itself at 7 o'clock, 7:05 at NRG Stadium. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Mike, I'm just curious, through 2 games you mentioned a little bit of resilience. How encouraged are you about the steps you guys are taking as a program?
I am definitely encouraged by the steps we're taking, and I mean it when I say it's better day by day. I really do, and again, every day we can stack in that mindset. It's better, but also the biggest thing we stress in this program, well, not the biggest. There's certainly a lot of things we stress, love for each other and things like that would probably stack above it, but finishing is one of them, and we've got to find a way to finish. But the resiliency, the fight, those things are real positive.
What's the biggest challenge besides Texas being Texas going into this game? How do you try to slow them down?
Yeah, I mean, they're a talented group. That's, the quarterback's pretty sporty, whether he's running the ball or throwing the ball right now. So I think there's a lot of challenges. The offensive and defensive lines, it's going to be outstanding challenges for our group. You just look at that offensive line that Herb Hand's put together over there and bringing in the graduate transfer and Parker Braun from Georgia Tech. I mean, that's a pretty stout group, even right across the board. Shackelford, Aguilar, they're a good offensive line, and they're big. Their defensive line, I mean, there's nothing we can do on scout team to prepare for a 6'2", 340-pound nose. We don't have anybody in the program that looks like that. So we're going to prepare our kids the best way we can. And, again, the thing that I know is they're going to go out there and fight. I know they have the mindset I want them to of, nobody may be giving us a chance. I see the Vegas line and all those things, but in this building, like, all we can think about is the things we can control and the fight. Like, our guys right now, they want to beat you in dominoes. They want to fight you across the table in dominoes, and that's what we need to have. And so going into this game, nobody's just going to say, okay, here it is. We'll go play for 60 minutes and let them have it. That's not the mentality this program has.
Do you, so I know your team's going to fight. Do you kind of in the back of your mind say, maybe they'll have a little bit of a letdown coming off that LSU game?
Well, I've been in their shoes, right? Like, I've been in their shoes where you play a top-ranked Oregon team, and whether you win or lose, and then you're playing an opponent that's out of conference. I know the challenges that they have, and I know that they're going to get their kids ready to play. But there's decisions you have to make as a coaching staff, too. Like, do I want to play this guy who's a little banged up in this game, or do I want him back for the conference opener the following week? And so I know the challenges they're going through. They're great coaches. They'll make the right calls for their program. But, again, whoever lines up for them is going to be uber talented. And whoever lines up across from us, we're going to do everything we can to come off the ball and fight them for 60 minutes.
Coach, you've coached in big-time games, also against Stanford. So you see Texas, and you know where it pretty much stands on the radar. But in terms of being able to communicate that to your players, how do you communicate that to them and understanding, yes, it's a big-time game, but it's still another opponent?
I think that's the bottom line, Nate, is we have to realize that this is just the next in our 12 promise games we get. And we got to prepare the way we know works. We got to do the things that work and prepare the best way we can. The worst thing we could do is go out there and try to be something outside of ourselves or outside of our schemes, because that never works. So we just have to play together, stay together, and just fight. And that's the biggest thing is regardless of the stage. I mean, I remember back to those AFC championship games with the Jets. I remember, being parts of those Pac-12 championships and those Rose Bowls. That was a big part of it. It's like trusting your training enough to come out and just perform. Like, be you. Be the best version of you, but be you.
Coach, after the Wake game, you said that you were tired of hearing how much better y'all were getting without the end result of the winning. Did you find anything from this week as terms of an inflection point maybe that y'all are getting closer to that point?
Definitely getting closer. I mean, the fact that we battled back to time at 14 in the first quarter when maybe, maybe we wouldn't have had that resilience even in years past. We would have had the there we go again type mindset that I felt was a part of our program last year that we continue to battle through. So, again, those are steps. There's a lot of things. Like, to be honest with you, the fact that we could stand toe-to-toe, the fact that we could move the ball in short yardage, the fact that when they overloaded the box in the run game and they were running some of their pressures, we were able to attack them through the air. And we had a receiver like Bradley Grosner step up and make a few big-time plays. And our quarterbacks trust him because of what he did last week in practice. And then now they trust him even more because he's done it in game. So, to see that and to see Tom called into action, and I mentioned it last night at the radio show, but the coolest part of what Tom did isn't even what he did Friday night. It's the fact that he did what's so hard to do, and he prepared like the starting quarterback last week. There's multiple times that I walked into the quarterback room looking for Coach Picasso, and I just said, hey, what you doing, bud? He's the only one in there. And he said, I'm just watching Red Zone, or I'm just preparing this way. And so I think that's why you see a guy come into the game unexpectedly and take advantage of his opportunity and throw for 63% and do some really cool things. Tom is going to be the starting quarterback for us this week.
What if, heaven forbid something happens, what's the plan after Tom? If you need to?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to package it, we played a lot of quarterbacks last year, and some of them are still in the program. So Evan Marshman's going to be the guy that takes the reps with the twos right now. We also obviously have Giovanni Johnson, who we believe in tremendously. He's a very talented guy that we're going to keep growing. I don't expect to see him in this game this weekend, but we have some guys that we really trust with some cool tools.
In an ideal world, and obviously you guys talked about Giovanni, is he someone that plays for fewer and you guys hold on to red shirt in an ideal world?
Absolutely. Yep.
You mentioned a little bit about the history of this. I guess how aware were you of the history of this series when you got here at JFK Speech and all that? And I guess how have you come to kind of appreciate that?
Yeah, so I remember hearing about that when I was a kid in Spring Branch and some of the talk about it. And I remember, anytime you're in elementary school, I think everybody has that one day a week where you wear the team that you follow's shirts. And I remember it seemed like those little 7-year-old girls were the most annoying, whether their parents went to Baylor or Texas or wherever. They were really proud of those colors. But I remember that in my class there was somebody from Texas and Rice, and they'd go at it pretty hard. And again, that one from Texas was a little more annoying back then. But
What's kind of cool to think that, that this was a place that, once held just a sitting presidential speech that's been memorized in that way.
it's unbelievable. Like actually, all the history of Rice Stadium, and that's some of the things that again I think we have to continue to educate recruits and their parents on is the JFK speech being there, to a Super Bowl being hosted there, to I think a Rolling Stones and George Strait concert. Like, and those are things we got to start doing again. Like this stadium needs to become more vibrant, and we're doing things to make it even better. So I look forward to that. I don't know who the next sitting president will be that speaks there, but I'll look forward to that too.
With the game at Energy, I know there was a game the night before. Is there any difference in preparation? Do you guys get a chance to walk through? Do you plan to walk through there before Saturday?
I don't know if we would have had that opportunity or not. I'm not taking it. We're going to stay in our routine like it's a normal home game. We're going to stay at our team hotel like it's a normal home game, and we'll just bus 0.5 of a mile further. All right. Thank you all.
Bring up Brad Rosberg. Mayor, why don't you just open up, just a brief comment about the Wake Forest game and our preparation for Texas.
The Wake Forest game, I believe the offense showed a lot of what we could do passing-wise. I think we just need to continue to grow and be more consistent when we running the ball, passing the ball, just bringing it all together. And as far as the Texas game goes, hopefully this gives us an opportunity to bring it all together, both passing and rushing-wise. But I'm really excited to play. Can't wait, and excited to be here.
Questions?
What's it gonna be like to play, at NRG, like that is absolutely incredible. What's it gonna be like to play in an NFL venue?
During my high school days, I never really got that opportunity to, being from a small high school in Needville. So I think it's going to be a pretty big deal for myself. Some of the players here have obviously played there during their playoffs and things like that, but for me, it personally would be a big time thing.
You're starting to see or coming to your own level in this offense. Kind of talk about that, and you're going against really good Division I competition, which is why I came to us. We kind of talk about stepping up in terms of competition, what that's leading to going into the Texas game.
Yeah, so, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And going against these athletes, we're really going to be able to test what we have and what we can be come conference play. It's going to be a great challenge for us. See where we're at and see where we can be and where we want to be.
Have you been able to take what you did at junior college and apply it here and feel like you're having some success at this level?
Oh, for sure. You learn a lot of things at junior college, especially how to grind with what you have. And coming to a Division I program, it just gives you tools to be better. But yeah, you definitely see a difference in your game.
Do you have any friends, anybody you know on the Texas team?
No, sir, I do not.
Did you catch any of the Texas LSU game? Do you have any immediate thoughts on that game?
I was really surprised by their secondary. Just seeing LSU not really being known for a passing team, having I believe those three receivers have over 100 yards. So that kind of caught my attention.
Coach Kershaw told me last night that he had a good talk led to that good game? What was the nature of that, and how did that help you?
So after the Army game, I was kind of disappointed in my performance because I felt like I could have done more. And we sat down and talked about it, and he told me that I'm going to get another opportunity to step up and make plays, and come Wake Forest, that's kind of what happened.
When you look at their secondary, I guess, what do you see from a talent standpoint, and what kind of challenge do you guys have as receiver group against them?
So they're obviously going to be a little faster than us. I mean, that's kind of why they were recruited so highly out of high school. But we're just going to have to attack them like they're anybody else. We got to bring the fight to them. We're the underdogs.
I noticed you have a slightly different look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Will you explain what led to that?
So I wanted to get a mohawk, but the barber didn't want to give me a mohawk, and I ended up with this.
So, why did the barber want to give you a mohawk?
I have no idea. I guess he couldn't handle all the hair.
You work out a deal, if you beat Texas, you get the Mohawk?
I wish it was like that.
Are you okay with it now?
I'm fine with it. It is what it is. I just got.
I'll do you a favor. Actually, it's pretty good looking.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brett, how's it been just getting acclimated to this place, and I mean, obviously, once you get kind of a good game like you did, I would imagine it helps you feel more comfortable, but how have you felt about just your progression overall since you got here?
I feel like I've grown tremendously. Coming in, I really didn't know what to expect. Making that giant jump from junior college to a Division I level, I had my own self-doubts, but now that I'm at this point and where I'm at, I'm confident as I've ever been.
Does this game, last question I have for you, does this game, you talked about competition, you talk about competition all the time. Does this game give you a chance to really go? I know you can play hard if you can.
Mhm.
But this one, is there something about this game that's a little bit different from the rest of them?
Well, being a kid from Texas and hearing about the A&M rivalry with Texas and, Texas Tech when they beat Texas when they were the #1 team with Colt McCoy, this is for sure a big game for me, just being that small kid and like seeing all the stars that came out of Texas and kind of wanting to be in that spotlight in that sort of sense. So this is like a great opportunity for me personally to like be in that spotlight and prove myself.
Anything else? All right, appreciate it, thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
We're gonna stay with the great topic of gray hair. And Blaze Aldrich. Blaze, just real quick, give just kind of summary of the first two games of the season and what it means I think to play Texas.
As far as the first two games of the season are concerned, I've liked, for the most part, what I've seen from the defense. I think we've shown tremendous growth from last season, and I think the possibilities are really exciting, the team and the defense as a whole. Obviously, we played Army really well. We didn't play Wake Forest as well as we hoped to, but when you get in the film room, you see a lot of things in the Wake Forest game that just kind of hints at what we can be. A lot of plays that were almost made that could have, turned the tides. And I think when you look at things like Coach Bloom mentioned, giving up the 14 quick points, but battling back with a stop and getting us back to that 14-4, 14 tied game shows a resilience that we didn't have as a defense last year, in my opinion. And I think we've played really stout against the run, minus a play or two in the two games. Obviously, I think we all know the play I'm alluding to. But that's our mission, is to try and stop the run, and for the most part, we're doing a good job of that, but we have to continue getting better. The game against Texas, it obviously all means a lot to us all here. Me personally, my kind of first football memory is USC versus Texas in the Rose Bowl, Vince Young versus Reggie Bush, and that kind of broke my heart as a Cali kid, voting for USC, so I've never really forgiven them for that. So this is my chance to get even, hopefully. But it's a big game. You know, we all want to show what we can do, and we're excited for the possibilities.
Questions?
Like, how old were you when you were
Shoot. I had to have been younger than 6 or 7. You know, it was like when I say it was my first football memory, literally, you know, it's probably the youngest memory I have, period. But, you know, it was not even understanding the game of football, just knowing Reggie Bush was a dog, and, you know, and watching it with my older brother and kind of mirroring his reactions whenever something happened, you know. But
Since you brought that up, can you talk about the emotions from that game that you kind of went through?
I mean, it was a roller coaster. You know, kind of like football games tend to be. I remember, you know, USC just battling, and I just remember the goal line play. It's my most vivid memory. Vince Young, I think they were on like the 3 or 4 yard line. It was just close, and they managed to punch it in, and that was finally when I broke down. You know, tears, the hissy fit that kids throw. And, you know, hopefully you don't see that kind of reaction from me when and if Texas scores a touchdown this weekend. But, yeah, it was a fun time. You know, I think it played a major role in my passion and love for the game, you know, those kind of memories.
Can you see yourself this weekend maybe making a stop on a play like that at the goal line?
Oh, yeah. You know, I think visualization and making big plays is the first step to making them. So if I feel like I space out a lot. Just in general, I can be like a spacey guy. And 99% of those daydreams are just making big plays in football. So I've already envisioned it a few times.
Blaze, what's the balance between playing with emotion and at the same time, kind of like Coach alludes to, process-oriented and being mentally under control?
Well, I think for different players, there's different balances. You know, obviously a quarterback and a linebacker are going to have, you know, different levels of emotion that they're allowed to play with. And then even different from a defensive lineman. But for me, you know, playing with emotion is great. And as long as, you know, I don't let it override and keep me from doing my job, the more emotion I have, the better.
Talk about growth. Where do you feel like you've seen the most growth on this defense?
I think it's going to start in something that's not a tangible stat, and I'm going to say confidence. You know, last year, I think, you know, there were times where we just felt like we couldn't stop people, no matter what we did. And, you know, this year, we just don't have that feeling at all, you know. Well, you give up a quick 14 to Wake Forest, and it's easy to go to your sideline and go, dang, we just can't stop these guys. Whereas instead, you know, it's an organized huddle where we're talking like, okay, like we missed these and these assignments. Like, you know, here's what we have to sharpen up to get the stops. And, you know, ultimately we were able to do it a few times, but not as many times as we'd like. So that's been our biggest growth. You know, I think we've grown a lot at the linebacker room from a position group that was maybe in question last season to hopefully one that the coaches are confident in to do their jobs and to make an impact on defense.
So what's changed that has gotten you to that place of confidence where you guys do?
Well, year 2 in the system always helps. You know, just more time learning the defenses, getting comfortable with it. You think less and you play faster. Things become more instinctual, which is always a good thing defensively. I think that we've grown together as a unit, and, you know, trusting other guys to do their job makes it a lot easier to do yours. So I mean, it's really just the little things every day that become the big things. My coach, Coach Vestal, was telling us that, and really all the defensive coaches were saying it in the last meeting, that as you go up levels of competition, you know, from high school, college to the pros, the small things become bigger things because there's less of a talent gap. You know, in high school, there's obviously the one good player that can carry a team. No really matter what he does, if he plays with bad technique, if he doesn't play assignment sound. And you see less of that in the college level and even less of that at the pro level. So we've just gotten better at doing the small things every day, you know, from film room to practice to the game.